Oh, wait, put it up again. All right, we're here today with Paul Felson. Nice, nice. Okay, so he's going to help talk to us about Amazon law, well, not just Amazon law, but some business law and accounting, everybody's favorite subject. So if you want to just, Paul had reached out to me in a Facebook group, and I had made a post about wanting some help. And, we went back and forth. It's a pretty good conversation. So I was like, and then he offered to come out and give us some information. And I was like, that's my goal. Everybody, whenever we can get experts to come share their information, I appreciate that. So do you want to just, thanks for coming on, Paul. And then you want to just give a quick intro of yourself and kind of what you're all about and your background?
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate being on here. I thought when we first connected, I thought your questions were really good. Rarely do I see posts of such, the questions are pretty informed. And I was just like, I definitely wanted to talk to you more. And then, I learned, having this opportunity to speak to everyone in your community, just really looking forward to it. Just a little bit about me, my background. I'm an attorney. I've spent most of my career working for huge companies. I worked for Microsoft for a number of years. Walmart asked me to go to Arkansas, which I thought was crazy at the time. But after a year back and forth, I decided, why not? Moved to Arkansas for 2 years, worked for Walmart. And then like 2 years later, General Electric or GE came after me and said, we want you to move to Connecticut, come work for GE, which I don't know how much you know about tax lawyers.
You need to give you the clout here that this is, GE says sounds not sexy to people. Tell them why it is.
So yeah, exactly. So Google GE tax 2011 New York Times article, know that for tax lawyers, GE is like the Yankees. It's being called up to play for, not that I'm a huge Yankees, I'm not a Yankees fan actually, but GE was written up in the New York Times as, for not paying any tax, which is really, I could debate whether that's really true or not, but, from the public view, that's how it's perceived. But in that article, they sort of made the point that sort of every tax lawyer knows, that GE is like the #1 tax law firm in the country. And it's not a law firm. It's an internal tax organization with, at the time, 1,000 tax people, hundreds of tax lawyers, hundreds of tax accountants. And it was like, if you wanted to be at the top of your game, you went to GE. And so being called up to GE was a huge deal for me. And so I was there right up until I helped them move to Boston, Massachusetts. And it was an awesome place. And so when I was in these companies, my main focus was tax. But people need to understand that tax in the corporate environment isn't tax, because people, corporations don't tie their shoes without asking a tax lawyer first, how to do it. And so what happens is that, tax law is the sort of, underlying issues, but behind that, what determines whether or not there's a tax due is a legal question that often involves intellectual property, corporate structure. So as a tax lawyer, we actually get pretty well trained in other bodies of law. So I tend to have a pretty solid, well-rounded background in all of these tax areas that are relevant for sellers. And so over the last year or so, I got involved in helping Amazon sellers as this sort of sales tax amnesty thing broke, sort of realizing that there's some serious problems with it. And now I'm here helping Amazon sellers. For what it's worth, I also have a master's of law degree, which is like an extra lawyer degree.
So you have your law degree, and then what are you, a CFA, CPA, or what?
An LLM.
LLM. I never heard of that.
Yeah,
What's that?
Master's of Law, LL period, M period. Master's of Law, and it's in taxation, so it's like a major, your major. Yeah, and it's from NYU, which is like, the best school to go. People debate whether it's Georgetown or NYU, and I'm not saying that because I think I'm all that. I just, like you said, I want to make sure I establish some level of credibility.
No, I think it's very important. Like, you're not like pulling out the degrees and stuff. They're not on your wall. Like, people need to know that especially with this, like, this is the most important part of your business. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It takes one mistake. Like, you want to be getting information from qualified people. So there's no shame, man.
Right. And to be honest with you, so much of my practice has become like undoing the mistakes of people getting information from unqualified people, because I'll give you a little bit of not so obvious fact about me. I used to be a seller. I sold on Amazon in 2004, 2003, 4, 5. We're talking
OG.
Yeah. I used to, the post, like, especially in the holidays, when I would go to the post office and like between classes in law school, I was the most hated person in the post office, because take up a whole queue just trying to get all my stuff, because you couldn't print out your labels. You couldn't just print and mail like you can today, and there was no FBA. You literally had to handwrite everything and then take it to the post office and send each thing. It was insanity. But it was profitable. As a law student, I was doing really well. And so I've been a seller, and I certainly understand that. Coincidentally, my wife actually, when I worked at Microsoft, worked at Amazon, and her job at Amazon was like the marketplace police. Like she was seller services or seller.
What a crazy background.
Yeah. So because the guy who got me into this is this Chris McCabe, and he knew me. His clients were asking about sales tax, and I've known Chris because he used to work with my wife at Amazon doing the same thing, and he couldn't answer his clients' questions about sales tax, and so he reached out to me, and that sort of really helped me redirect my focus into Amazon world. And it's just been a crazy year. How much I've learned even beyond what I thought I knew.
Wow, that's awesome. So wife worked for Amazon. You sold on Amazon. You worked for GE, Walmart. Man, you got it all. Microsoft. Good background.
One more thing, we'll get into that a little bit more of sales tax, is that I am actually the acting executive director of the Online Merchants Guild, which is a new trade association that was formed with one of the Mike Jackness and Bernie Thompson. And Bernie Thompson, you might know because he's pictured oftentimes in Seller Central. He's one of the oldest private labelers, one of the first and most successful private labelers. His company's called Pluggable.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, they wanted to create a trade association that fights for sellers. So
that exists?
Yeah, it's called Online Merchants Guild.
Oh, there's finally someone defending us.
MG, yeah, and we're getting ready to sue the states, hopefully in a month. I mean, we've raised some, decent money. We hope you'll contribute. Definitely, onlinemerchantsguild.org. We have an FAQ on our website. You can learn about how much we pay our people. Zero. This is a volunteer effort right now. We're really just trying to establish the credibility of the organization and make sure people understand what we're trying to do. So we are, we're planning to take the states to task. We want them. There's a big state tax constitutional problem. We'll talk about that. We're trying to cover everything. I mean, it's not just tax. It's tax today. It's tariffs. It's intellectual property. We're really trying to be a resource for sellers, and then an advocacy group, or lobby if you want to use that word. But we haven't lobbied yet, so I'll use the word advocacy group because that changes things in Europe.
Yeah, legally speaking. Yeah. But no, I think that's a great, because I've had this idea before. I was like, should I start one? But I was like, that's a big task. But nobody else is really just fighting and defending the online merchants. Now the battle against Amazon is a whole nother one. Who knows if anybody will ever take that on? That's kind of going against the behemoth. But
it's not. We're not directly. We have to be mindful of the fact that our clients do make. Our members make a lot of money from Amazon. But Amazon does move the goalposts sometimes, and part of what we need to do is restore the balance of power. I mean, this sales tax situation is partly because of Amazon, and they're looking in one direction, even though they know it's going to cause a lot of people pain. And
they could just write the code and solve it for 1/100,000th of the cost that it costs all of us to do.
Yeah, no, I actually wrote a Supreme Court brief, and you'll see I wasn't very nice to the states and not very nice to Amazon. It's actually Online Merchants Guild. If you Google Online Merchants Guild Supreme Court brief, or I can give you the link, and it's on our website, onlinemerchantsguild.org. But you can read exactly. It's just so absurd that we're even here today with the sales tax issue.
All right. Well, that's a good intro. So we're going to be talking about tax law, just in law in general. We're going to be talking about a lot. So we're going to move on to the next video about sales tax, the debate and the current situation of that, and kind of what you guys need to know about sales tax, where it used to be, where it is, and where it's going to go. So we'll move on to that now.